If you have ever looked at your bank account and thought, where did all my money go? Then this video is exactly what you needed to find. Today, we are going to build a simple, clear, and actually usable financial plan. No complicated spreadsheets, no confusing jargon, no finance degree required. Just a straightforward system that works in real life, for real people, with real money problems. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, or open your Notes app because we are about to change the way you think about money forever. Let us start with something important before we dive in. A financial plan is not a budget. A lot of people confuse the two, and that confusion is exactly what keeps most people stuck. A budget tells you where your money goes. A financial plan tells you where your money is going and why, and what it is building toward. That difference is everything. A budget without a plan is like driving a car without knowing the destination. You might be moving, but you have no idea if you are getting closer to where you actually want to be. So today, we are not just making a budget, we are building a plan, a living document that grows with you, adjusts with your life, and keeps your financial future moving in the right direction. Now, the first thing we need to do is get honest. And I know that sounds uncomfortable, but here is the truth. Most people avoid financial planning because they are afraid of what they will find. They know things are not perfect. They know there might be some debt. They know they probably spend too much on things they do not need. And facing all of that feels overwhelming. But here is what I want you to remember. You cannot fix what you do not face. And the sooner you look at your real numbers with clear eyes, the sooner you can start making real changes. This is not about shame. This is not about judgment. This is about getting clear so you can get free. So take a breath, open your mind, and let us get into it. Step 1 is knowing your income. This is the foundation of your entire financial plan, so we need to get this number right. Your income is not what your employer pays you before taxes. Your income is what actually lands in your account after everything is taken out. After taxes, after any deductions, after any contributions to benefits programs. That number, the one that actually hits your bank account, that is your real income. Write it down. If you get paid every 2 weeks, multiply that amount by 2 and then multiply it by 12 to get your yearly number, or just multiply by 26 to get your annual total. If your income changes from month to month because you are self-employed or you do freelance work, take your last 6 months of income, add them all together, divide by 6, and use that as your average monthly income. The goal here is to get a realistic, honest number that reflects what you actually have to work with. Step 2 is knowing your fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are the bills that are the same every single month, the ones that do not change no matter what. Think rent or mortgage payments, car payments, insurance premiums, loan repayments, subscriptions you pay monthly, and any other recurring charges that you know are coming no matter what. Write all of these down and add them up. This is the non-negotiable portion of your monthly spending. These are the commitments you have already made, the financial promises that are locked in. Once you know this number, you subtract it from your income, and what is left is your discretionary income, the money you actually get to decide what to do with. That gap is where your financial plan either lives or dies. Step 3 is knowing your variable expenses. These are the ones that change from month to month and are usually the sneaky culprits behind financial chaos. Groceries, gas, dining out, entertainment, clothing, personal care, random shopping, coffee runs, those online purchases you barely remember making. These expenses are real, they are legitimate, but they are also incredibly easy to underestimate. The best way to get an honest picture of these expenses is to look at your last 3 months of bank and credit card statements, add up everything that is not a fixed bill, and divide by 3. That gives you your average monthly variable spending. And most people, when they do this exercise for the first time, are genuinely surprised by what they find. Not because they are irresponsible, but because these little purchases add up in ways that are almost invisible in real time. Step 4 is finding your number. Your number is simple. It is your income minus your fixed expenses minus your variable expenses. Whatever is left is what you have to work with. If that number is positive, great. You have a foundation to build on. If that number is 0 or negative, do not panic. That is just information. It tells you something needs to change, And now you know exactly where to look. This is the moment of truth in your financial plan. This is where most people stop, because the number is uncomfortable or confusing, or it just does not feel real. But push through, because what comes next is where the actual planning begins, and it is also where things start to feel genuinely exciting. Step 5 is setting your goals. And this is the part that most financial guides skip over or rush through. But I want to spend some real time here because your goals are the entire reason you are building this plan. Without clear goals, a financial plan is just a math exercise. With clear goals, it becomes a roadmap to the life you actually want. So think about what you want your money to do for you. Do you want to pay off debt and stop feeling that pressure every single month? Do you want to build an emergency fund so that a car repair or a medical bill does not send you into crisis mode? Do you want to save for a home? Do you want to travel? Do you want to retire early? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck? Whatever your goal is, write it down. Give it a name. Give it a number if you can. The more specific your goal, the more powerful your plan becomes. Here is a framework that works really well for goal setting in a financial plan. Divide your goals into 3 categories. First, your immediate goals, which are things you want to accomplish in the next 1 to 3 months. Second, your short-term goals, which are things you want to accomplish in the next 3 to 12 months. Third, your long-term goals, which are anything beyond 12 months. Having goals in all 3 categories keeps you motivated because you are always making progress somewhere. You are not just grinding towards some distant dream that feels abstract and far away. You are hitting small wins along the way, and those small wins keep the momentum going. Step 6 is building your plan around the 50-30-20 framework. This is one of the most popular and effective budgeting frameworks in personal finance, and it works because it is simple, it is flexible, and it is based on percentages rather than fixed dollar amounts, which means it scales with your income no matter what your income is. Here is how it works. 50% of your take-home income goes toward needs. These are your fixed expenses plus the essential variable expenses like groceries and gas. 30% goes toward wants. These are the lifestyle expenses, dining out, entertainment, subscriptions, clothing, anything that makes life enjoyable but is not strictly necessary. 20% goes towards savings and debt repayment. This is your future. This is where your emergency fund gets built. This is where your debt gets paid down. This is where your wealth starts to grow. Now 50-30-20 is a guideline, not a rule. If you are in a lot of debt, you might want to flip the 30 and the 20, putting 30% towards savings and debt repayment and only 20% toward wants. If you are just starting out and your income is lower, hitting all 3 percentages might not be immediately possible, and that is okay. Start where you are, apply the framework as best you can, and adjust as your income grows. The point is not perfection. The point is direction. As long as you are moving in the right direction, you are doing it right. Step 7 is automating your plan. This is the step that separates the people who stick to their financial plan from the people who abandon it after 2 weeks. Because the truth is, willpower is not a reliable financial strategy. Life gets busy, stress happens, temptation is everywhere, and the moment you have to make an active decision about whether to save your money or spend it, you create an opportunity to make the wrong choice. Automation removes that opportunity. It takes the decision out of your hands entirely. Set up an automatic transfer to your savings account on the day your paycheck hits. Pay your bills on autopay. If your employer allows it, direct a portion of your paycheck straight into a separate savings or investment account so it never even enters your main spending account. Out of sight, out of mind is a powerful financial principle when it is working in your favor. Step 8 is reviewing and adjusting. A financial plan is not something you build once and then forget about. It is a living system that needs regular attention. Set a reminder on your phone to do a monthly financial review. This does not need to take long, maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Look at what you plan to spend. Look at what you actually spent. Notice the gaps, and ask yourself what changed and what you need to adjust for the coming month. Life is unpredictable. Your income might change. Your expenses might shift. A goal might become less important, or a new goal might show up that matters more. Your financial plan should bend with your life rather than break under the pressure of it. The review process is what keeps your plan alive, relevant, and effective. Now let us talk about the one thing that makes or breaks every financial plan, and that is your relationship with money. Because you can have the most perfectly structured plan in the world, but if your mindset around money is built on fear, avoidance, shame, or scarcity, the plan will fall apart. Money is emotional for most people. It is tied to feelings of security, freedom, self-worth, and identity in ways that go much deeper than mathematics. And those emotions, if left unexamined, will sabotage your best financial intentions every single time. So as you build your plan, pay attention to how money makes you feel. Notice the stories you tell yourself about what you deserve, what is possible, and what people like you are capable of. Because those stories are either working for you or against you, and you have the power to rewrite them. One of the most powerful things you can do for your financial future is to start thinking of yourself as someone who is good with money. Not someone who is trying to be good with money. Not someone who is hoping to get better with money someday. But someone who is, right now, in this moment, making thoughtful, intentional decisions about their financial life. Because identity drives behavior. When you see yourself as a financially responsible person, you start making financially responsible choices without having to force yourself. The plan becomes easier to follow because it aligns with who you believe yourself to be. That shift in identity is worth more than any budgeting app or financial hack you will ever find. Let us also talk about debt for a moment, because for a lot of people, debt is the biggest obstacle standing between them and financial freedom. And it can feel like a weight that is impossible to lift, especially when the interest keeps piling on and the balance does not seem to move no matter how much you pay. But here is what I want you to know. Debt is solvable. It takes time and it takes discipline, but it is absolutely 100% solvable. There are two main strategies most people use. The first is the avalanche method, where you put all your extra money toward the debt with the highest interest rate first, while paying the minimum on everything else. This saves you the most money over time. The second is the snowball method, where you put all your extra money toward the smallest debt first, regardless of interest rate, and then roll that payment into the next smallest debt once it is paid off. This approach gives you faster psychological wins, which keeps you motivated. Neither method is universally better. The best one is the one you will actually stick to. Some people need the emotional momentum of the snowball to stay engaged. Others prefer the mathematical efficiency of the avalanche. Pick the one that fits your personality and commit to it. And remember, every dollar you put toward debt is a dollar that stops costing you money in the future. That is one of the best investments you can make. Now let us zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. A financial plan is not just about surviving from month to month with a little less stress. It is about building something. It is about creating a life where money gives you options rather than limitations, where you can say yes to the things that matter and no to the things that do not without a knot in your stomach, where you can handle the unexpected without falling apart financially, where you can look at the future with anticipation instead of dread. That is what a financial plan makes possible, and it starts right here, right now, with the simple steps we have walked through today.